Jeong Hae-seong, a key agent at the National Intelligence Service, and his colleagues were arresting a criminal smuggling artifacts. During the confrontation, the criminal fled in a car with the artifacts. Jeong Hae-seong immediately chased after him on a motorcycle, climbed onto the car from the door, and forced the criminal to stop. The criminal tried to shake him off by swerving, but Jeong Hae-seong, holding onto his balance with one hand and picking up his helmet with the other, managed to break the glass and enter the car to retrieve the artifacts. Unexpectedly, the car hit an obstacle, rolled over at high speed, and caught fire. His colleagues watched the scene in shock. Jeong Hae-seong emerged from the flames, carrying the criminal in one hand and the artifacts in the other, completing the mission impressively. They returned the artifacts to their team leader, who carefully opened the package only to find the artifact was broken. Jeong Hae-seong recalled that it happened during the fight. The director was furious and ordered Jeong Hae-seong's dismissal. The team leader, wanting to save this excellent member, pleaded for his retention, willing to do anything to prevent his dismissal. The director then assigned him a task that, if completed, would allow Jeong Hae-seong to stay. The team leader quickly gathered the team to explain the task and its background. Years ago, 10 tons of gold bars were prepared for national independence, guarded by Seo Byeongmun. However, Seo Byeongmun claimed the gold for himself. As the country became independent, he had to hide, and the gold was hidden too. The team leader showed a photo confirming the gold's existence. The National Intelligence had once investigated Seo Byeongmun's consortium with this evidence, but found nothing. The only place overlooked was Byeongmun High School, owned by Seo Byeongmun's consortium. Recently, they received a tip that the hidden gold was in the school, and the consortium planned to smuggle it overseas. Jeong Hae-seong's task was to disguise himself as a high school student and find the gold, a daunting task for someone in his 30s. Meanwhile, at Byeongmun High School, the teachers were celebrating the vice principal's birthday. Oh Soo-ah, eager to secure her job, sang and danced to please the vice principal, who made her drink heavily. Drunk, she caused a scene by pulling off the vice principal's wig and stealing his taxi. Frustrated, she went to her mother's shop to sober up. There, she met the upset Jeong Hae-seong and was instantly attracted to him. At that moment, some men tried to dine and dash, pretending to be students, and accusing Oh Soo-ah's mother of selling alcohol to minors as an excuse not to pay. Oh Soo-ah confronted them, but was harassed. Fortunately, Jeong Hae-seong intervened and defeated them, forcing them to pay. Grateful, Oh Soo-ah's mother refused to take Jeong Hae-seong's money for the meal, but he insisted on paying before leaving. Oh Soo-ah, captivated by his handsome face, was sure it was love at first sight. Jeong Hae-seong returned home exhausted and remembered being bullied in high school, which made him feel a strong aversion to schools. However, he composed himself the next day to review the operation plan with his team leader and colleagues. They informed him that Byeongmun High School had a strict hierarchy similar to the military, where even the teachers dared not oppose the powerful student council. They had created a special admission identity for him to enter the school, which disliked transfer students. To blend in, Jeong Hae-seong needed to learn the latest internet slang and popular memes. That evening, the team leader had dinner with his wife and daughter, An Yu-jong, who was surprised to learn that Jeong Hae-seong was going to Byeongmun High School, her own school. She initially thought he would join as a teacher or administrative staff. Once everything was arranged, Jeong Hae-seong, dressed in a school uniform, arrived at Byeongmun High School and went to meet his homeroom teacher. He saw Oh Soo-ah avoiding the vice principal and helped her by pointing in the opposite direction. Oh Soo-ah recognized him by his name tag as the new student assigned to her class and introduced herself as his homeroom teacher. Upon realizing he was the handsome man who had stood up for her the previous night, her shock was profound as her crush had become her student. Oh Soo-ah struggled with the huge disparity, but quickly adjusted and took on her teacher role by scolding Jeong Hae-seong for his disguise and reminding him of her authority. She introduced him to the class, causing the girls to scream excitedly, while An Yu-jong couldn't believe Jeong Hae-seong was a student and in her class. During the break, An Yu-jong took Jeong Hae-seong to the rooftop, promising to help him with his mission as long as he kept her school life secret from her parents. They agreed to not interfere with each other's lives. Unused to attending classes, Jeong Hae-seong struggled to stay awake, and when Oh Soo-ah tapped his shoulder, he reflexively lashed out. Two girls later approached him during the break, asking for his social media to send anonymous messages, which confused him, earning their mockery. Outside, the chaotic play of his classmates overwhelmed him, and he ended up splashed with milk. During lunch break, he wandered around the school looking for potential hiding spots for the gold bars. He found an old building marked as off-limits, with a locked door but an active electricity meter indicating something unusual. As he planned a stealthy entry, he heard insults nearby and saw several boys bullying his desk mate. They ignored Jeong Hae-seong's presence and ordered him to buy drinks for everyone. Jeong Hae-seong was about to lose his temper when he imagined his team leader as a Buddha with a wooden fish, advising him to be patient. He respectfully agreed to buy drinks for everyone. Back in the classroom, he asked his deskmate about the old building. His deskmate warned him that it was rumored to be haunted and advised staying away. Jeong Hae-seong also encouraged his deskmate to stand up to bullies, warning that failing to do so would only encourage them more. The school's board chair was attending a staff member's funeral, promising the family to take care of the deceased's child's education and arranging for the child to be transferred to a special class at the school. A council member at the funeral suggested that the staff member's sudden death after a dispute with the chair over education policies seemed suspicious. The chair warned him to keep quiet and avoid trouble. After the funeral, the chair's subordinate reported that everything was settled without an autopsy and there was no need to worry. Relieved, the chair was ready to proceed with their plans. Jeong Hae-seong reported back to his team leader about the old building. Later, he changed into casual clothes, turned off the surveillance, and successfully broke into the building. While searching with a flashlight, he found himself at gunpoint. Turning, he saw Oh Soo-ah, who, trying to act composed, claimed she was holding a gas gun and demanded he remove his mask. Seeing the patrol armband on Oh Soo-ah's arm, Jeong Hae-seong realized he was just caught by chance. He used the flashlight to blind her and escaped. Oh Soo-ah chased after him, but collided with a security guard and lost sight of him. The principal reported to the chair that Oh Soo-ah was the only witness to the intruder in the old building. The chair, knowing the suspect had escaped from the first floor, assumed they hadn't reached the basement yet and would likely return, deciding to wait. The same day, a troublesome student ordered Jeong Hae-seong to level up a game character to the maximum. With no choice, Jeong Hae-seong called a colleague to hack the game and max out the level, but his colleague refused and hung up. Meanwhile, Jeong Hae-seong's colleague read a newspaper article about the chair planning to develop the city into a national education hub with a budget exceeding 800 billion won, the same amount as the missing gold bars. They suspected the chair planned to smuggle the gold bars abroad, launder the money, and then use it to establish the education city. Elsewhere, An Yu-jong, having found Jeong Hae-seong on the phone, informed him that the leading troublemaker, Park Tae-soo, used his father's position as a congressman to bully classmates and warned Jeong Hae-seong to be cautious. In class, Jeong Hae-seong noticed his deskmate, Lee Dong-min, was missing. Oh Soo-ah inquired about Lee Dong-min's whereabouts. Park Tae-soo claimed Lee Dong-min was ill and had left early, asking him to report the absence. Oh Soo-ah believed him, but Jeong Hae-seong felt something was off. During the break, Jeong Hae-seong was forced to play video games for Park Tae-soo. He happened to see the principal enter the old building. As he peered through the door, security chased him away. He then moved to a secluded spot to inform his team leader that the principal had entered the old building. After hanging up, he heard noises from a trash can and was shocked to find Lee Dong-min stuffed inside. He knew Park Tae-soo was responsible and was frustrated that Lee Dong-min didn't resist because he only had his grandmother and no parents to support him. Lee Dong-min asked Jeong Hae-seong not to tell the teachers, fearing it would worsen his situation. Just then, Oh Soo-ah arrived, saw him dirty, and assumed Jeong Hae-seong was bullying Lee Dong-min, who lied that he fell accidentally and quickly left. Jeong Hae-seong avoided Oh Soo-ah's scrutinizing gaze and made an excuse to return to the classroom. Park Tae-soo, who had secretly observed Jeong Hae-seong helping Lee Dong-min, was displeased and discussed him at a student council meeting, upset that Jeong Hae-seong had released Lee Dong-min without his permission. And Yu Jong, a member of the student council, bravely pointed out Park Tae-soo's bullying. Park Tae-soo mocked her, calling her a mere follower of the student council president, Lee Yen-ah. Annoyed by the noise, Lee Yen-ah ordered Park Tae-soo to apologize to An Yu-jong. Reluctantly, he apologized after Lee Yana threatened him with his father's political ambitions, which her mother could influence. An Yujong thanked Lee Yana, who reminded her to maintain her role and that she should have addressed the issue herself. At lunch, Lee Dongmin shared rumors about the old building with Jeong Hae-seong. He spoke of a ballet dancer who was bullied by other girls, got hit by a car, became disabled, and eventually died. The bullies hid her body under the old building's floor. Security patrols had reported seeing her ghost, which supposedly haunted the building every night at the time of her death. Jeong Hae-seong dismissed it as a rumor, but Lee Dongmin claimed to have evidence from a video he recorded inside the building, where he captured a figure lifting its head in the practice room. Before Lee Dongmin could share another school ghost story, Park Tae-soo and his group arrived arrogantly. Park Tae-soo spat in Lee Dongmin's food and forced him to eat it. Lee Dongmin reluctantly picked up his spoon, but Jeong Hae-seong intervened and condemned Park Tae-soo's behavior. During the break, Park Tae-soo flipped his tray and stood up to confront Jeong Hae-seong. Jeong Hae-seong, not wanting to use force, defended himself against Park Tae-soo's aggressive attacks and subdued him. Just as Park Tae-soo tried to retaliate, Oh Soo-ah arrived and stopped the fight. Both were taken to the vice principal's office, where Park Tae-soo was quickly released, and Oh Soo-ah was instructed to punish Jeong Hae-seong severely. Oh Soo-ah questioned Jeong Hae-seong about any issues between him and Park Tae-soo, suggesting he should have reported to a teacher if Park Tae-soo instigated the conflict. Recalling his own experience of being bullied with teachers turning a blind eye, Jeong Hae-seong expressed sadness that school bullying still existed. He questioned Oh Soo-ah whether she was pretending not to notice or genuinely unaware. Oh Soo-ah felt conflicted. Meanwhile, a male colleague worried about Jeong Hae-seong, managing alone at school, thought about providing support. However, the team leader bragged about Jeong Hae-seong's prudence, claiming he wouldn't cause trouble. Just then, the director entered and played a video of Jeong Hae-seong fighting with Park Tae-soo. The team leader had to apologize to the director for Jeong Hae-seong's actions. The director reprimanded him and reminded Jeong Hae-seong that he had joined the National Intelligence Service, following in his father's footsteps, and must not disgrace his father. Back home, Jeong Hae-seong remembered the last time he saw his father, who never returned from work that day. After the conflict, Park Tae-soo, dissatisfied with Jeong Hae-seong openly defying him, thought about ways to kill Jeong Hae-seong. A gang leader offered to help, but Park Tae-soo refused. The gang leader then demanded repayment, threatening to take his ID card if he couldn't pay. Just like before, Park Tae-soo devised a plan. He visited Lee Dongmin's house while Lee Dongmin was out working, claiming to be his friend. He lied that Lee Dongmin had won a school scholarship that required his grandmother's ID to claim. Believing him, the grandmother went to get her ID. Unaware of this, Lee Dongmin, who was delivering food, saw Jeong Hae-seong breaking into the old building and followed him out of curiosity. Jeong Hae-seong couldn't persuade Lee Dongmin to leave, so he allowed him to follow. They reached the basement and heard noises. Following the sounds, they saw a person wearing a hat in a room. The person threw a hammer at them and fled. Jeong Hae-seong couldn't catch him, but found a locked door, which he opened with a high-end lockpick. Inside the room, the walls were covered with information about the gold bars. He immediately called his team leader, suspecting the chairman was also searching for the gold bars. Unknown to him, his actions were being recorded by hidden cameras. The chairman watched him from the surveillance footage. Jeong Hae-seong, ready to leave with Lee Dongmin, noticed Lee Dongmin was pale with fear and gesturing towards something under the floor. Looking down, Jeong Hae-seong saw human bones beneath the floorboards. Jeong Hae-seong found a skeleton under the floor of an old school building. Luckily, it was just a model. He found a key nearby. The principal walked in suddenly. Jeong claimed they were just curious about the school's ghost stories. The principal did not inquire further and let them go. He then informed the board director, who ordered not to interfere with Jeong's actions, noting students often discover unexpected things. Jeong returned to his team with the key, which had a design identical to Seo Byeongmun's seal. This suggested a connection between the gold and the ghost stories. Solving these mysteries could lead to finding the gold. Meanwhile, an intelligence officer gave a fake artifact to the director, who shredded the authenticity report to keep it a secret. Unaware, Jeong visited Lee Dong-min to hear more ghost stories. Lee shared one about a clock that only rings at night when someone is alone in school. If it rings, a pair of blood-red eyes appear. While Jeong was engrossed, Oh-soo pulled him outside, demanding to know why he took Lee Dong-min's grandmother's ID. She had just received a call claiming Jeong took it. Jeong realized Park Tae-soo was behind this, but didn't reveal the bullying Lee faced to Oh-soo, leading her to scold him after school. Jeong messaged Oh-soo, falsely claiming he needed to check his home's gas and avoided meeting her. He then went to the security room and exposed the security guard as the attacker from the previous night. The guard confessed, explaining he followed a stray cat into the old building, discovered the skeleton, and hid under the floor in panic. When he tried to escape, he got stuck, leading to Lee Dong-min seeing him in a bizarre situation. The guard had returned last night to fix the floor, but attacked out of panic when caught. Jeong understood it was all a misunderstanding, and reassured the guard that the skeleton was just a model, easing his mind. Lee Dong-min suspected Park Tae-soo took his grandmother's ID and asked for it bravely. Park intentionally dropped it and stepped on Lee's hand as he picked it up. Oh-soo witnessed Park bullying Lee and asked if it happened often. Lee was afraid to admit it, while Park arrogantly warned Oh-soo to ignore it if she wanted to be confirmed in her position. Apologizing for involving Oh-soo, Lee hurriedly left. At home, Lee found Jeong Hae-seong with his grandmother. Earlier, Jeong had helped her pick up scattered cardboard and walked her home. She gave him money to buy snacks, hoping he'd get along well with Lee. Jeong saved his number on Lee's phone, urging him to contact if needed, marking Lee's first experience of true friendship. Later, Oh-soo and Jeong met at a convenience store near their homes. Oh-soo apologized for misjudging Jeong and felt ashamed for not noticing Lee's troubles sooner. Jeong gave her the money from Lee's grandmother, hoping she would grow into a teacher worthy of such a gift. Observing Jeong pick beans from his food reminded Oh-soo of a childhood friend with the same habit. As they left the store, Jeong received a distress call from Lee. His grandmother was arrested by police investigating an illegal gambling site and was falsely registered as the site's operator. Oh-soo posted about Park's bullying and the gambling issue on the school website, causing a stir and damaging Park's reputation. Amid the chaos, Jeong investigated the ghost story of the clock, inserting the key found by the skeleton into the clock's lock. The director, appearing suddenly, claimed curiosity about the ghost stories and offered help with any queries. After Jeong left, the director checked the clock without finding anything unusual. To manage the online rumors, the director invited the parents to school. With Lee's grandmother still detained, Oh-soo acted as his guardian. Park's father claimed the online reports were lies and demanded the truth. Park also threatened Lee. Encouraged by Oh-soo, Lee hesitated, but then falsely declared that the online article was incorrect and that Jeong, not Park, was the real aggressor. Oh-soo asked Lee Dong-min why he lied. Lee recalled how Park Tae-soo threatened him with a knife the previous night, saying his grandmother would die in jail if he didn't slander Jeong Hae-seong. However, he didn't tell Oh-soo and asked her not to intervene to avoid getting hurt herself. Upon hearing this, Jeong Hae-seong went to confirm if Lee was threatened by Park. Lee admitted it, expressing his frustration about living oppressed while Park, who did many wrongs, led a happy life. Jeong listened but could only say that none of this was Lee's fault. Lee broke down crying, unaware that Jeong also had a dark past. Jeong had been bullied for being an orphan and retaliated, leading to punishment and the distress of his mentor, who then supported his homeschooling to escape the stifling school environment. Now seeing Lee face a similar nightmare, Jeong wouldn't let history repeat itself. He asked a colleague to investigate Park Tae-soo's background and associates. The school announced a disciplinary hearing to consider expelling Jeong. As the hearing was about to start, Oh-soo called Jeong to be on time, and he asked her to delay it. Parents and teachers were ready, and under pressure from Park's father, the principal asked Oh-soo to bring Lee and Park. The vice principal questioned Lee one last time about his accusations against Jeong. Lee maintained they were true, and the vice principal declared Jeong's expulsion. As the decision was about to be finalized, Oh-soo stood up in panic, awkwardly asking if anyone wanted lunch, which the vice principal dismissed as disruptive. Just as the gavel was about to fall, it was interrupted by a loud noise outside. Jeong stylishly removed his helmet and brought a passenger from his motorcycle into the meeting room. Before attending the hearing, Jeong had gone to the headquarters of the illegal gambling site, confronted the boss, Gu Sang-tae, and forced him to hand over Park's criminal records. Gu underestimated Jeong, dressed in his high school uniform, and ordered his men to teach him a lesson. But Jeong handled them easily, with his colleague arriving to assist. Jeong Hae-seong defeated Gu Sang-tae, and a female colleague copied the needed information onto a USB drive. Their leader ordered Jeong to bring Gu to the disciplinary committee for handling. At the school, Jeong forced Gu to confess Park Tae-soo's gambling activities. Gu revealed that Park was a VIP member who not only referred clients, but also helped them forge IDs, including the one for Lee's grandmother. Park's father argued that even if his son was involved in gambling, it didn't prove he bullied Lee. The current trial was about whether Jeong bullied Lee. The vice principal, wary of offending Park's father, planned to announce Jeong's expulsion. At that critical moment, Lee finally gathered the courage to admit that it was Park, not Jeong, who bullied him. Jeong then threw the USB drive to Oh Soo-ah, signaling her to play the evidence. The screen clearly showed Park handing Lee's grandmother's ID to Gu. With undeniable proof, Park could no longer deny his actions. In a fit of rage, he punched Jeong, who immediately retaliated. Given the situation, the director expelled Park to protect the school's reputation. Afterwards, Lee apologized to Jeong, burdened with guilt. Jeong understood Lee's dilemma and expressed that he helped Lee unconditionally because Lee reminded him of his own past struggles. Later, Oh Soo-ah applied medicine to Jeong's wounds, and both felt particularly joyful after their joint victory. Jeong sincerely thanked Oh Soo-ah, aware that not everyone would have the courage to expose Park's misdeeds. As they shared a moment, Oh Soo-ah blushed, unnoticed by Jeong, who casually removed a petal from her hair. Overwhelmed, she hurriedly left. The next day at school, Jeong continued to investigate the ghost story about the clock. Lee told him about a girl who, jealous of her friend who ranked first in class, pushed her down the stairs, killing her. The girl thought she would then always be first. One day, while studying alone in the classroom at midnight, the clock struck 12 and the lights flickered. Terrified, the girl hid in the restroom, only to see her friend's face with blood-red eyes under the door. Soon after, her body was found. Since then, it was said never to stay at school when the clock chimes. Jeong, holding the key, tried again to open the clock, but failed. At that moment, An Yu-jong came to put up posters and photos. Jeong helped her and noticed a photo of a clock, clearly different from the one before them. An Yu-jong explained that the school has 2 clocks, and the one in the photo is in the student council room. Jeong Hae-seong wanted to check it out, but was stopped by the student council president, Lee Ye-na. Intrigued by seeing Jeong ride a motorcycle into school, Lee Ye-na bought him a gift and suggested he join the student council. Jeong educated her on not spending money frivolously, even if her mother is the director, and urged her to spend wisely. Jeong then approached Oh Soo-ah to inquire about joining the student council. Oh Soo-ah presented the requirements: rank in the top 10 in the latest exams, gather over 100 signatures, and obtain the student council president's approval. Jeong decided to start by collecting signatures, but he only knew Lee Dong-min at school. 2 boys who had bullied Lee Dong-min apologized after realizing Jeong backed him. They volunteered to help Jeong with his campaign, but their poor reputation meant no one was willing to sign. Returning with only 3 signatures, Jeong's group leader told him to focus on his studies while they handled the signatures. The next day, to Jeong's surprise, his leader and colleagues had set up a support booth offering free sandwiches for signatures endorsing Jeong for the student council. Intending to slip by unnoticed, the leader quickly pushed him onto the stage, and Jeong reluctantly joined the performance. After escaping the cheering crowd, he felt embarrassed but admitted the tactic was effective. Soon, the leader handed him the completed signature sheet, fulfilling one requirement. Relieved, Jeong was taken aback by An Yu-jong's intense reaction upon learning of his council bid. Being of low status in the council, she didn't want acquaintances to see her demeaned and threatened to expose Jeong's identity if he persisted. Meanwhile, the director also learned about the secret of the 2 clocks and Jeong's application. She was eager for Jeong to succeed, planning to enjoy the benefits of his efforts. After school, Lee Ye-na, seeing the principal reporting to her mother, acted affectionately towards her. The director played along, showing concern for Lee Yena. However, as soon as the principal left, the mother-daughter duo turned cold. Lee Yena, nervous, wanted to leave quickly, but the director stopped her, forcing her to take medication and instilling the belief that she must rank first. Lee Yena, unable to resist, took the medicine and rubbed her arms to ease the discomfort. Jeong Hae-seong suddenly received an urgent call from a colleague. He was being recalled because he is a member of the Ministry of Defense's operations team and had not reported his secret mission to the ministry, leading to an emergency recall for training. Jeong had to pretend to have a cold and called Oh Soo-ah to ask for sick leave. Oh Soo-ah believed him and advised him to rest well, mentioning she would visit him. Jeong panicked because he didn't actually live in the attic registered in the student records, which was empty. If Oh Soo-ah visited, his identity would be exposed. He rushed to the attic and urgently sought his team leader's help. Meanwhile, Oh Soo-ah was already on her way and would arrive in 20 minutes. The team leader issued a strict order. They had to make the room look like a high school student's within 15 minutes. They hurriedly borrowed pots, pans, toiletries, and other items from neighbors. Before they finished setting up, Oh Soo-ah knocked on the door. In desperation, the 3 team members hid in the closet. Jeong opened the door slightly to show Oh Soo-ah he was okay and quickly took the porridge from her, hoping she would leave soon. However, he accidentally spilled the porridge on Oh Soo-ah. Oh Soo-ah wanted to use the restroom, and Jeong couldn't stop her. As she entered and saw the mess, she wanted to help clean up. Jeong grabbed her shoulders to stop her, and they came into close contact. Oh Soo-ah tripped over something on the floor, and Jeong quickly caught her, but they both fell and accidentally kissed. The situation outside and inside the closet was chaotic. One male colleague couldn't hold back a sneeze, and in desperation, a female colleague kissed him to silence him. The male colleague, overwhelmed, fainted and fell out of the closet. Oh Soo-ah was stunned to suddenly see 3 people emerge from the closet. The team leader immediately lied that Jeong Hae-seong was working in his store. The other 2 were Jeong Hae-seong's colleagues. Oh Soo-ah saw the 3 wearing shoes and had just hidden in the wardrobe. It all looked quite strange. Oh Soo-ah wanted an explanation from Jeong Hae-seong. With no choice, Jeong Hae-seong pretended to faint from illness. His colleagues exaggeratedly carried him to see a doctor, managing to deceive everyone. After that, Jeong Hae-seong faced midterm exams. Once the exams were over, Jeong Hae-seong and his colleagues gathered. All 4 felt that they hadn't dispelled Oh Soo-ah's doubts that night. Jeong Hae-seong realized they should keep their distance from Oh Soo-ah for future plans, and better not meet her again. Before he could finish, he suddenly remembered a kiss, and guiltily touched his lips. At the same time, Oh Soo-ah was telling a colleague that she suspected Jeong Hae-seong was not really a student. She had seen someone resembling Jeong Hae-seong at an old building. Moreover, as a high school student, Jeong Hae-seong had managed to bring a gambling site boss to a violence committee. More strangely, the car registered at Jeong Hae-seong's home belonged to him. All these were not things a high school student could typically do, yet Jeong Hae-seong's records showed he was 17. Confused and having drunk too much, Oh Soo-ah accidentally rang the doorbell of the wrong house, not knowing it was actually where Jeong Hae-seong lived. Jeong Hae-seong saw Oh Soo-ah through the intercom and told her she was at the wrong place, disguising his voice. Fortunately, Oh Soo-ah's mother came and took her away. Once it was quiet outside, Jeong Hae-seong secretly went out to check and noticed Oh Soo-ah lived opposite. Soon after, the midterm results were announced. Jeong Hae-seong squinted at his score, then called the team leader and 2 others waiting by their phones, learning he ranked 10th. The team leader and a female colleague excitedly hugged. Lee Yena, usually first, this time scored second, while An Yu-jong ranked first. Lee Yena congratulated An Yu-jong, but immediately switched to a cold demeanor back in the student council room. Then, she saw messages on a member's computer about a new group mocking her loss to An Yu-jong, suggesting the presidency should go to An Yu-jong. Worse still, the chairman, learning she came second, demanded she meet him immediately. Lee Yena nervously rubbed her arms before entering. The chairman allowed her no respite, and sternly ushered her in. Jeong Hae-seong, having earlier obtained 100 signatures, now ranked among the top 10, qualifying to join the student council. He quickly submitted his application along with 2 other students. Now it was up to Lee Ye-na to decide. Jeong Hae-seong brought Lee Ye-na a cup of water with leaves in it. He imagined himself as a hero caring for and looking after Lee Ye-na. However, everyone felt embarrassed for him, and Lee Ye-na bluntly asked him to take the water away. Unexpectedly, the next day, the school announced that Jeong Hae-seong had become a member of the student council. Oh Soo-ah was skeptical about Jeong Hae-seong's new status. She called his former middle school to inquire about him. Fortunately, a female colleague who answered the call pretended to be a teacher and praised Jeong Hae-seong as a good student. Still unconvinced, Oh Soo-ah had her colleagues investigate the situation of the team leaders at a store. They recorded everything with a camera but found nothing suspicious. Meanwhile, An Yu-jong asked Jeong Hae-seong to pretend not to know her in the student council. Unbeknownst to them, Lee Ye-na saw them talking from upstairs. Lee Ye-na invited Jeong Hae-seong to dinner and asked An Yu-jong to join. In the restroom, An Yu-jong told Lee Ye-na she couldn't make it, but Lee Ye-na forcefully insisted she must come, shoving a used tissue into her hand. At the restaurant, Lee Ye-na was moved seeing Jeong Hae-seong out of his uniform. Jeong Hae-seong greeted An Yu-jong, and Lee Ye-na asked if they knew each other. An Yu-jong quickly denied any prior acquaintance. Seeing An Yu-jong pour water for Lee Ye-na made Jeong Hae-seong uncomfortable. To assert her dominance, Lee Ye-na deliberately sent An Yu-jong out to buy her stockings. As An Yu-jong was about to leave, Jeong Hae-seong grabbed her, momentarily dropping his disguise. He warned Lee Ye-na and let her off this time, hoping she wouldn't bully anyone again. After Lee Ye-na left, An Yu-jong felt humiliated, revealing she only got into the student council by serving Lee Ye-na. Lee Ye-na returned home and questioned her mother about letting Jeong Hae-seong into the student council. The chairwoman advised her not to ask too many questions and warned her about the true purpose of taking An Yu-jong out. She forced Lee Ye-na to promise never to let anyone take her top spot. After joining the student council, Jeong Hae-seong sneaked in to investigate a clock, but found nothing suspicious. Suddenly, someone slipped a letter through the door saying, "Nice to meet you, Agent Jeong Hae-seong." Jeong Hae-seong handed the letter to the director, suspecting someone knew his identity and was watching him. The director ordered them to find the person who slipped the letter. After they left, the director immediately ordered his subordinates to investigate the backgrounds of the staff at Byeongmun High School. The information soon revealed an incredible detail. Jeong Hae-seong went to check the student council's CCTV footage, but was told the servers were shut down for maintenance yesterday. Meanwhile, the principal was reporting to the chairman that the CCTV footage had been dealt with, and they had reviewed its contents. The chairman asked why someone would send a letter to Jeong Hae-seong. The principal thought the person wanted something from Jeong Hae-seong or needed his help. The chairman was concerned about how much that person knew about the school's secrets. At the same time, Jeong Hae-seong received a call from an unknown number. The caller, identifying him as Agent Jeong Hae-seong, asked if he remembered their voice. Jeong Hae-seong recognized the voice as the school's security guard. The guard asked him to come alone to the school's rooftop to talk. As Jeong Hae-seong reached the building, he heard the clock strike 12 and remembered a creepy story about the clock, not to stay at school when it chimes, or ghosts would appear. Ignoring the tale, he proceeded, but then heard a loud noise behind him as the guard fell from the rooftop. Jeong Hae-seong picked up a notebook from the guard's hand, the same one he had given to his father as a child. Simultaneously, Oh Soo-ah found a 2003 magazine at school and recognized a man she knew as a child, Bong Ji's good friend Si-hyun's father, who used to take them out to eat. The man in a photo with student council members in the magazine was Si-hyun's father, who is now Jeong Hae-seong. While the guard was waiting for Jeong Hae-seong on the rooftop, a man in black appeared and tried to snatch the notebook, leading to a struggle during which the guard was pushed off the roof. Just after Jeong Hae-seong picked up the notebook, he heard noises from the rooftop. Looking up, he saw a figure and chased the man in black to the rooftop where they fought. The assailant aimed to steal the notebook, but was eventually pinned down by Jeong Hae-seong, who drew a gun and was about to unmask him when distracted by a noise. The man in black pushed him away and escaped. Jeong Hae-seong chased him but lost sight. It turned out the man in black was the principal, who apologized to the chairman in a getaway car for not retrieving the notebook. Furious, Jeong Hae-seong stormed back to the National Intelligence Service to demand why his father's notebook was at Byeongmun High School and what secrets it contained. Unable to hide the truth any longer, the director revealed that Jeong Hae-seong's father's last mission, which involved a gold bar search, might be connected to the school. His father had disappeared during this mission. Calming down, Jeong Hae-seong examined his father's notebook, which contained stories about Byeongmun High School, various clues and things his father wanted to do, including visiting an observatory with his son Si-hyun. Distraught, Jeong Hae-seong skipped school the next day. The school announced the guard's death and found a suicide note in his room, leading to speculation among students that his death was related to the creepy tale. After regaining his composure, Jeong Hae-seong returned to school, determined to uncover the notebook's secrets. Oh Soo-ah informed him that his unexplained absence the previous day had cost him 20 points. After class, Jeong Hae-seong went to the student council room and followed the notebook's hint to turn back the clock's hour hand. He found a red light sensor behind the pendulum, the so-called red eye from rumors. He then recorded the emitted music with his phone. Just as he restored the clock, Oh Soo-ah entered, questioning him about a security guard's death and his presence on the rooftop last night. It turned out Oh Soo-ah had been working late at school and heard a loud noise from below. When she checked from the window, she saw the security guard falling with Jeong Hae-seong beside him. She also witnessed Jeong Hae-seong struggling with a man in black and pointing a gun at him. Startled by her noise, the man in black escaped. Jeong Hae-seong revealed the truth. He was an agent from the National Intelligence Service, undercover as a high school student to locate gold bars. Seeing Oh Soo-ah's disbelief, he locked the door and presented her with two choices: actively assist the national mission or face over 10 years in prison for leaking state secrets. He gave her a day to decide. Back at his agency, Jeong Hae-seong played the clock's recording for his team leader and colleagues. A female colleague identified the music as Byeongmun High School's anthem, composed by Seo Byeongmun. Jeong Hae-seong asked if the security guard's identity was clear. The team leader informed him that the guard was just an ordinary citizen, and it was unclear why Jeong Hae-seong's father's notebook was with him. Jeong Hae-seong suspected pressure on the case and shared his concerns. Unaware of the team leader's uneasy expression, after reporting, he disclosed that Oh Soo-ah knew his identity. The team leader criticized him for pressuring a civilian and instructed him to apologize to Oh Soo-ah and secure a confidentiality agreement. Reluctantly, Jeong Hae-seong invited Oh Soo-ah to dinner, hoping she would forgive his rudeness and explaining the stakes involved. To uncover the cause of the security guard's death, he needed to stay at the school. If Oh Soo-ah agreed to keep the secret, they could offer her a sum of money. Imagining herself being rewarded by the school for assisting the investigation, admired by all and easily securing a permanent position, she quickly agreed to keep Jeong Hae-seong's secret and help him with his mission. Jeong Hae-seong also disclosed his relationship with An Yu-jong to her, warning that if the man in black knew she was at the scene, she might be in danger. Seeing Oh Soo-ah's nervous face, Jeong Hae-seong took her hand, promising to protect her. Flustered and already having feelings for him, Oh Soo-ah blushed and hastily fled to hide her turmoil, leaving Jeong Hae-seong puzzled by her reaction. Elsewhere, the chairman met with someone to thank them for revealing the security guard's identity. Before the incident, the chairman had approached the guard, already aware that he was formerly with the National Intelligence Service. She questioned why he sent a letter to Jeong Hae-seong. The guard believed Jeong Hae-seong should know how his father disappeared, and the notebook contained the answers that could help him. Before leaving, he asked the chairman to tell the agency that just like the failed search for the gold years ago, this attempt would fail too. The chairman told someone hidden in the shadows that if Jeong Hae-seong met the guard and learned the truth about his father, he wouldn't get away unscathed. She then burned the guard's personnel file. Jeong Hae-seong began investigating another eerie tale noted in the notebook. The story originated from a past relationship between the piano club president and a girl who accompanied him musically. They fell in love, and the girl accidentally became pregnant. When she sought his help, he coldly rejected her. Heartbroken, she died, and afterwards the piano in the music room began to play by itself. As Jeong Hae-seong finished reading, he heard a scream. Oh Soo-ah, who had appeared beside him unnoticed, had also read the story. Jeong Hae-seong asked where the grand piano was kept. Oh Soo-ah remembered seeing it in the chairman's office, but accessing the office was not easy. As she finished speaking, Oh Soo-ah thought of a way to get in. The school was planning an open day, which alumni would attend, but as a student council member, Jeong Hae-seong was excluded. He had previously missed a class and lost 20 points. The school's rules stated that anyone docked more than 20 points could not participate in any activities. Jeong Hae-seong shared the bad news with his team, and just as everyone was worried, Oh Soo-ah brought good news. The school was selecting promotional models, and being chosen would earn 25 points. Reluctantly, Jeong Hae-seong participated, posing awkwardly among teenagers, resulting in stiff photos. Seeing this, Oh Soo-ah pulled him aside to teach him better poses. Her cuteness made Jeong Hae-seong laugh, relaxing him enough to strike various poses, eliciting screams from the female students. When it was Lee Ye-na's turn, the photographer suggested she show her arms, but she suddenly lost control and stormed out. And Yoo Jong, who had accidentally seen scars on Lee Ye-na's wrist, followed to comfort her. Instead of appreciating it, Lee Ye-na mocked her for pretending to be nice. Jeong Hae-seong arrived to protect An Yoo Jong, but his actions made Lee Ye-na blame An Yoo Jong more. After Lee Ye-na left, An Yoo Jong also complained to Jeong Hae-seong about interfering in her affairs. As Jeong Hae-seong tried to follow, Oh Soo-ah stopped him, pointing out his lack of understanding of high school girls. Although he wanted to protect An Yoo Jong, his interference only made things worse. Jeong Hae-seong lamented the complexity of high school life. Oh Soo-ah advised him to just endure this period. Her words reminded Jeong Hae-seong of his childhood friend Bong-ji, who had told him to endure through difficult study times. As they were leaving, a sudden downpour began. Oh Soo-ah's mother called her back to get an umbrella, accidentally using her original name, Bong-ji. Jeong Hae-seong turned towards Oh Soo-ah with joy, not realizing his long-missed friend was right beside him. Oh Soo-ah ran over and they shared an umbrella. Just then, a motorcycle passed by, and Jeong Hae-seong pulled Oh Soo-ah close to avoid it. In the pouring rain, they looked into each other's eyes, creating an ambiguous atmosphere. Jeong Hae-seong wanted to confirm if Oh Soo-ah was his childhood friend. He checked if her original name was Bong-ji. Oh Soo-ah mistakenly thought he was mocking her old-fashioned name and left angrily. Back at the store, Oh Soo-ah gulped down cold water to calm the fluttering in her heart, caused by their recent closeness. Jeong Hae-seong returned home and found an old photo of him with Oh Soo-ah. He remembered her proposing to him with a large toy ring, asking to be his bride when they grew up. The next morning, Jeong Hae-seong went to the school and saw Oh Soo-ah dancing and mopping to music. Charmed by her cuteness, he asked why she was working as a janitor. Oh Soo-ah explained that someone might record her caring for the school, which could help her application for a formal teaching position. Jeong Hae-seong cheered her on and wished her a swift transition to a full-time role. Confused again, Oh Soo-ah asked a colleague if a man hugging her and offering encouraging words on a rainy day meant he liked her. Her colleague warned her not to mistake kindness for affection, or she would end up heartbroken. Today, the vice principal gathered the teachers to pick a promotional model. Jeong Hae-seong won by a narrow margin among the men. Lee Dong-min and others asked him to treat them in celebration. On the way to the supermarket, Jeong Hae-seong ran into An Yoo Jong and quickly followed her. He apologized for interfering with her school life. An Yoo Jong explained that Lee Ye-na was having a hard time and saw her as the only person she could confide in. She hoped Jeong Hae-seong wouldn't dislike Lee Ye-na. After the conversation, Jeong Hae-seong and his team members gathered to discuss the next task. A female colleague reported that the detective handling the security guard's fall case had a sick daughter who was recently transferred to a hospital owned by the Byeongmun Financial Group, with all medical expenses covered by the group, suggesting a link to the security guard's death. The team decided to set this aside and focus on the next urban legend. The female colleague compared the school anthem of Byeongmun High School, recorded by Jeong Hae-seong, to the official one. They were the same song, but had different waveforms. She deduced that Jeong Hae-seong's recording was a four-hand piano duet. The team leader speculated that playing it might reveal a clue related to the urban legend, but none of them could play the piano. Coincidentally, Oh Soo-ah appeared and volunteered that she could play the piano, even a simple school anthem with a few hours of practice. The team leader immediately decided to make Oh-soo an honorary field agent of the National Intelligence Service to assist Jeong Hae-seong with the task. Oh-soo agreed on the condition that the team leader use his connections to secure her a permanent position after the task's success. The team leader stamped an agreement, promising to fulfill Oh-soo's request. Jeong Hae-seong pulled Oh-soo aside and advised her for safety reasons not to join the team's operation. Oh-soo showed him the contract, willing to risk it to secure a permanent position, remembering a promise to become a full-time teacher she made with her first student. Jeong Hae-seong reluctantly reminded her to stay close to him during the mission to ensure her safety. The team leader explained that the key to solving the urban legend was to play the piano in the chairman's office after learning the music score. Only the fingerprints of the chairman and the principal could unlock the chairman's office. To get the principal's fingerprint, Oh-soo approached him in the library pretending to borrow the same book he was holding. The principal handed her the book, and Jeong Hae-seong quickly took an imprint of the fingerprint from it. Oh-soo, curious about the process, leaned in close to Jeong Hae-seong, causing his breathing to quicken and his heart to race uncontrollably. Additionally, while teaching him piano, their fingers touched, stirring his emotions. Jeong Hae-seong, never expecting to fall in love, went to a bookstore and searched online for reasons why one blushes when close to someone. To empower Oh-soo, he taught her self-defense, leading to a position where she hugged him tightly from behind, making his heart race uncontrollably and abruptly ending the lesson. Back home, he frantically cooled his emotions with cold water. The team leader assigned the operation for the school's open day, where Jeong Hae-seong and Oh-soo would sneak into the chairman's office with others assisting. On open day, the chairman would be busy in the reception room, creating the perfect moment for them to act. The office had one entrance, and although they had the fingerprint for the door, opening it would send an immediate record to the chairman and save it on his computer. A female colleague would remotely block the data from reaching the chairman, but they needed to delete the record directly from the computer in his office. On the open day, Jeong Hae-seong, dressed sharply, was captivated by the stunningly dressed Oh-soo, almost forgetting to breathe, remembering her childhood wish for a proposal when dressed beautifully. He gave Oh-soo a tranquilizer needle for protection, put a camera necklace on her, and holding her hand, promised to protect her and complimented her beauty. Meanwhile, Lee Yena, smiling, accompanied the chairman, who ignored her discomfort from her shoes. An Yoo-jong appeared just in time with a plaster. Unappreciated, Lee Yena mocked An Yoo-jong, comparing her to a dog kept by her side, yet acting like a human. An Yoo-jong retorted that even the capable Lee Yena behaved submissively in front of the chairman. Angered, Lee Yena slapped An Yoo-jong, who immediately slapped her back. After the incident, An Yoo-jong felt lost, unsure how to help Lee Yena. As the chairman and parents entered the reception room, the team leader signaled to start the operation. A male colleague disguised as a waiter entered the electrical room to cut the power. Jeong Hae-seong and Oh-soo hurried towards the chairman's office. But as they were about to go upstairs, the lights came back on unexpectedly, due to the principal swiftly restoring the power. To buy Jeong Hae-seong time, the colleague decided to cause a distraction. He entered the control room, claiming he was a student's parent who had fallen down the stairs due to the power outage, demanding an explanation from the school. The bodyguards ignored his complaints and tried to drag him out. At that crucial moment, a female colleague intervened, pretending the male colleague had abandoned her, even kissing him in public to distract the bodyguards from monitoring the cameras. Meanwhile, Jeong Hae-seong and Oh-soo reached the chairman's office and tried several times to open the door with a fingerprint simulator made from the principal's fingerprint. Without success, a group of bodyguards surrounded them. Jeong Hae-seong fought to protect Oh-soo. Regaining her composure, Oh-soo used a tranquilizer needle to help defeat the last bodyguard. Jeong Hae-seong tried the door again, and this time, the fingerprint matched and the door opened. They sat at the piano for a four-hand duet. Jeong Hae-seong noticed one key was silent, but they found no clues by the time the piece ended. The team leader radioed them to quickly delete the records from the chairman's computer and evacuate to avoid danger. Jeong Hae-seong deleted the records as instructed. Afterwards, he noticed an unexpected folder on the computer containing detailed operation plans for the undercover mission, including the open day operation and his personnel record card showing his real name. Sai-hyun. Recalling his early days at the National Intelligence Service, the team leader had asked him to use a pseudonym. As a child, Jeong Hae-seong had told his father he wanted a new name inspired by a comet, which sounded similar to Jeong Hae-seong. That became his pseudonym at the agency. This discovery made him suspect the team leader's identity, and he returned troubled to meet with the team. Meanwhile, Oh-soo-ah was cleaning up the event space with other teachers when an argument broke out. Student Han Sung-jae was upset that a server had dropped cake on his shoes and demanded the server kneel, apologize, and compensate, or he would call the police. As Han Sung-jae reached for his phone, he didn't notice a card falling from his pocket. Oh-soo-ah helped the server up. Han Sung-jae mocked her for trying to be a good person and suggested she kneel instead. During the standoff, Han Sung-jae's father joined, siding with his son and claiming he was right. The vice principal arrived, scolded Oh-soo-ah for being disrespectful, and respectfully sent the others away. A colleague warned Oh-soo-ah that if she wanted to become a permanent teacher, she should avoid conflicts with student council members and their parents. The uncle thanked Oh-soo-ah for defending him and picked up a card dropped by a student, handing it to her. Meanwhile, Jeong Hae-seong returned home and listed all the clues related to the mission, concluding that someone inside the National Intelligence Service was colluding with the chairman. He wrote down the names of the internal staff, with the team leader being the last and the one he least suspected. At the same time, Oh-soo-ah pondered the meaning of the silent piano key. Starting from the lyrics, she picked out the Korean words corresponding to the silent keys, formed a sentence, and excitedly called Jeong Hae-seong to share the news. Unfortunately, he didn't answer. She met Jeong Hae-seong at a convenience store near her home and quickly handed him a note, excitedly revealing that she had solved the mystery of the urban legend. Jeong Hae-seong's reaction was lukewarm, seemingly suddenly uninterested in the matter. Noticing his preoccupation, she invited him for a drink. Jeong Hae-seong confided that the chairman was behind the gold-seeking scheme, using him as a pawn, and that there was a spy within the National Intelligence Service. He felt confused and unsure whom to trust. Oh-soo-ah suggested they start by monitoring the chairman to identify the mole. She is a fan of spy dramas. During their conversation, Oh-soo-ah realized Jeong Hae-seong was not using formal language with her. He explained they were the same age. Oh-soo-ah did not remember discussing their ages before. Jeong Hae-seong revealed that when she was known as Bong-ji in the 2nd grade, they were good friends. Oh-soo-ah, recalling Jeong Hae-seong's and Si-hyun's similar behaviors, was shocked to realize the man before her was her childhood friend Si-hyun. She struggled to calm her emotions, remembering how sad she was when Jeong Hae-seong transferred schools due to his father's disappearance, but believed he would find his father. Elsewhere, Lee Yena had accidentally heard a conversation between Han Sung-jae and his father, who assured his son of high scores and predetermined winners in a science paper competition and various awards. Lee Yena saw Han Sung-jae's father hand him a card, instructing him to keep it secret. Lee Yena confronted Han Sung-jae, who was searching for the card. She mentioned overhearing the father-son conversation, asking about the predetermined arrangements and the card's purpose. Han Sung-jae confessed that there was a deal between his father and the chairman, with each award promised to certain individuals. Lee Yena wanted to confront her mother about these practices. Han Sung-jae pointed out that Lee Yena was the biggest beneficiary of the fraud, as her rankings and awards were not earned but manipulated by the chairman. Regarding the card, Oh-soo-ah, curious about its function, tried accessing the website listed on it. She was shocked to find it was a site for faking school rankings. The chairman, through browsing records, found out Oh-soo-ah had accessed the site. He warned her that if she wanted to stay at the school, she must follow the rules and obey superiors. Unwilling to accept the school's dishonesty and the disservice to serious students, Oh-soo-ah asked Jeong Hae-seong for help in uncovering the truth. Overwhelmed with the mole issue, Jeong Hae-seong had no spare energy to assist her. Passing the library, he saw An Yu-jung studying hard, hoping to perform well in competitions to get into university. To find evidence of fraud, Oh-soo-ah visited the archives to investigate recent years' student test scores and rankings. Meanwhile, Jeong Hae-seong installed listening devices in the chairman's car and other frequent locations. During a meal with Han Sung-jae and his father, the father apologized for his son losing the card. The chairman was unconcerned, noting she had deleted the website and that a minor lesson for Oh-soo-ah, who knew the secret, would suffice. Hearing this, Jeong Hae-seong, worried for Oh Soo-ah's safety, went to find her at school and brought her home to investigate together. The meal wasn't over when Han Sung-jae told the chairman about Lee Ye-na knowing about the fraud. He criticized Lee Ye-na's arrogance. The chairman, in front of Han's father, pretended not to care, but followed Han Sung-jae to the restroom to slap him, warning him to keep his mouth shut. That night, Lee Ye-na questioned whether the fraud was real. The chairman consoled her, stating as her daughter, she was entitled to benefits. She claimed Lee Ye-na was different from people like An Yu-jong. Tearfully, Lee Ye-na expressed that her efforts seemed worthless to the chairman and defended An Yu-jong, saying she was her friend. Distressed, Lee Ye-na showed up at An Yu-jong's doorstep, wanting to confide in her friend, but unsure how to start. An Yu-jong took her home for a meal, never asking why she appeared so suddenly, just hoping she could enjoy a brief moment of relaxation. Meanwhile, Oh Soo-ah continued her investigation at Jeong Hae-seong's house. She explained her personal stake in the matter. Her first female student was falsely accused by student council members of stealing exam papers and was expelled. Since then, she has been eager to become a full-time teacher with authority to prevent such injustices. She was determined to pursue the investigation, despite potential impacts on her career. They worked tirelessly through the night. At one point, Jeong Hae-seong covered a sleeping Oh Soo-ah with a blanket. Oh Soo-ah admired Jeong Hae-seong's handsome features, and their feelings for each other deepened as they worked together. By dawn, they concluded that the chairman was making deals with parents who supported her educational city project, while she ensured students received awards and rankings through fraud. Jeong Hae-seong took the evidence back to the National Intelligence Service and started informing colleagues about the fraud and the educational city project. Before he could finish, the team leader called him away, ordering him not to interfere with the fraud case. His mission was to find the gold, and he was to return to the organization immediately after completion. Jeong Hae-seong wanted to confront the team leader about possibly being the mole colluding with the chairman, but ultimately couldn't bring himself to ask. The director discovered the two arguing and learned that the chairman intended to use gold to advance the Education City project and facilitate student fraud to pave the way. He regarded the situation as serious and ordered Jeong Hae-seong to return to the school immediately. The team leader was to organize the progress of the operation and report back. Later, the chairman spoke with the mole, complaining that Jeong Hae-seong was obstructing their plans and demanded his removal. Soon after, Jeong Hae-seong received an order from the National Intelligence Service to halt the operation and leave the school within the week. Jeong Hae-seong suspected the chairman was behind this and decided to confront him directly to stay at the school. During a meal, Jeong Hae-seong intentionally sat opposite the chairman and asked if the school's gymnasium had been renovated. This question piqued the chairman's interest, leading her to suspect that Jeong Hae-seong might know about the next urban legend. In this situation, she chose to keep Jeong Hae-seong close and instructed the principal to quickly complete the tasks she had assigned. Oh Soo-ah continued to investigate the fraud. She found that all the falsified competitions had the same person's signature in the examiner confirmation section. She took the information to Jeong Hae-seong's house and rang the doorbell, but no one answered, though she clearly heard noises inside. She pushed the door open and entered, only to see a masked person in black inside the room. When Jeong Hae-seong returned home, he found his belongings scattered everywhere and Oh Soo-ah lying on the floor. Oh Soo-ah unexpectedly encountered a man in black at Jeong Hae-seong's house. She quickly pulled out her phone to call the police. The man in black rushed to snatch the phone. During the struggle, he accidentally stabbed Oh Soo-ah in the abdomen with a knife, which then fell to the ground. The man in black fled. Jeong Hae-seong saw that Oh Soo-ah was injured and took her to the hospital. Fortunately, the knife did not hit any vital organs, and Oh Soo-ah's life was not in danger. Upon hearing the news, the team leader and others came and saw Jeong Hae-seong looking exhausted. They advised him to rest and offered to stay with Oh Soo-ah. Jeong Hae-seong has always suspected that the team leader was a mole. He lost control of his emotions and almost confronted him, but managed to restrain himself. He stayed by Oh Soo-ah's hospital bed all night, feeling guilty for not protecting her better. When Oh Soo-ah woke up, she gently comforted Jeong Hae-seong. If he felt guilty, he should treat her better in the future. She then sat up and revealed to Jeong Hae-seong that the executor of the forged scores and the exam proctor for the rigged competition were both one teacher. Just then, Jeong Hae-seong received a call from a male colleague. The DNA results from the scene at Jeong Hae-seong's house had been released, confirming that the teacher was the person present. Jeong Hae-seong immediately ordered his colleague to keep a close watch on the teacher and specifically instructed him not to tell the team leader yet. He would report it himself later. After hanging up, Jeong Hae-seong returned home and carefully analyzed the crime scene. He discovered that the knife used to stab Oh Soo-ah was actually his own kitchen knife. He deduced that the teacher's purpose was not to harm, but likely to search for something. As expected, his father's notebook was missing. Jeong Hae-seong realized that the one so eager to obtain the notebook was probably only the chairman. Meanwhile, the teacher handed the notebook to the chairman, requesting him to keep his name out of the forgery case and ensuring he would no longer be involved in forging scores. The chairman flipped through the notebook and could not find any information on the fourth rumor, which Jeong Hae-seong had previously hinted at, suspecting it was known only to Jeong Hae-seong. Jeong Hae-seong continued to stay at school, which only became more dangerous. At that moment, Lee Ye-na came in and questioned the chairman if the math competition had already been fixed for her to win first place. It turned out that Lee Ye-na had wanted to go to the movies with An Yu-jung, who declined to focus on the upcoming math competition. Lee Ye-na, not wanting her friend's efforts to be in vain, asked the chairman not to rig the competition, as she desired to prove her abilities on her own merit. The chairman scolded Lee Ye-na for not appreciating her advantage, but reluctantly agreed. Meanwhile, she ordered the principal to find a replacement for the teacher. Male and female colleagues, following Jeong Hae-seong's instructions, kept a close watch on the teacher. Seeing him get into the principal's car, they immediately followed. The principal took the teacher to a scrapyard, distracted him, then used a stun gun on him, and ordered his men to dispose of the teacher. The colleagues saw the teacher being stuffed into a scrap car. They rushed out with clubs, hoping to be heroes, but were quickly subdued by the opponents and locked up with the teacher. The car holding the three was pushed into a car crusher. As the principal was about to press the start button, a loud car horn suddenly sounded. Jeong Hae-seong made a dramatic entrance and fought the opponents. Amidst the chaos, the principal pressed the button, and the crusher began to lower. Wearing fingertip blades, he joined the fight personally. Despite being injured, Jeong Hae-seong was determined to save the others. After a few rounds, he knocked the principal unconscious and pressed the stop button, successfully rescuing the three people inside the car. Jeong Hae-seong took the teacher to see Oh Soo-ah. The teacher, full of regret, apologized, stating that everything was orchestrated by the chairman, and he had no other choice. Oh Soo-ah angrily condemned his actions on behalf of the wronged children, urging him to repent and make amends. Jeong Hae-seong took the teacher to a hideout to stay until dawn. After the teacher got out of the car, Jeong Hae-seong called the team leader to report that the school forgery and the stabbing of Oh Soo-ah were all done by this teacher, who was now secured in a safe house. The teacher would be interrogated at 7 a.m. the next morning, and the chairman would also be summoned by the police. After sharing this crucial information, Jeong Hae-seong claimed he was going home to rest, but stayed in the car, thinking if someone came to rescue the teacher before 7 a.m., the team leader was likely the mole. The night passed, and at 7:20 a.m., no one had come to rescue the teacher. Relieved, Jeong Hae-seong immediately called the team leader to apologize for his suspicions. The team leader stopped him, reminding him of their father-son-like bond over more than 20 years. Jeong Hae-seong, in good spirits, went to the chairman's office and confronted her about her reasons for involving him in the operation, asking if it related to his father. The chairman mocked him, suggesting he shouldn't ask her such questions. When she refused to relent, Jeong Hae-seong turned on the TV, where news was broadcasting the teacher exposing the school's forgery scandal in front of reporters and the police. The chairman remained calm, confident that mere testimony from a teacher couldn't bring her down. Jeong Hae-seong then produced a USB drive, claiming it contained all evidence of the chairman's involvement in score forgery. With charges of forgery and incitement to murder, the police took the chairman away for questioning. Jeong Hae-seong stylishly tossed the USB into the police evidence box. During the interrogation, the chairman refused to speak until the director of the National Intelligence Service appeared. criticizing her for compromising the Education City project and suggesting a change in leadership. The chairman, first laughing manically, then warned the director that a woman who lost everything could do anything, frightening him with her venomous demeanor. Later, Jeong Hae-seong and the team leader had dinner together. Jeong Hae-seong honestly expressed his past suspicions of the team leader being the mole. The team leader then understood why Jeong Hae-seong had been hostile towards him lately. He then asked if the mole was the director and pulled out a photo showing him, the director, and Jeong Hae-seong's father. The team leader remembered the day Jeong Hae-seong's father disappeared. He had called him about a matter concerning the director and asked to meet immediately. The team leader hesitated to report to his superiors, which led to him missing the meeting. By the time he arrived at the agreed location, Jeong Hae-seong's father was nowhere to be found. To this day, the team leader admitted he feared Jeong Hae-seong would resent him for keeping this a secret. Jeong Hae-seong comforted the team leader, telling him not to feel guilty anymore. He vowed to find both the gold and his father. Jeong Hae-seong asked Dong-min, who knew about the campus legends, for clues about the fourth tale. Dong-min mentioned that the school curses the last person to know about the legends, causing them to disappear silently. Jeong Hae-seong recalled a phrase analyzed by Oh Soo-ah and found related words on a corridor display, guessing that the founder's facing direction might indicate where the gold is, but further investigation was needed. The Ministry of Education announced an inspector's visit, and students discussed the grade forgery issue. Being the chairman's daughter, Lee Yen-ah was caught in the whirlwind of public opinion. Oh Soo-ah stopped the students from gossiping and comforted Lee Yen-ah, telling her it's okay to cry and let out her emotions. Lee Yen-ah felt comforted and broke down in tears. The whole class cleaned the school to welcome the inspector. Oh Soo-ah captured everyone's cute moments, and they all took a group photo. Dong-min enthusiastically pulled Jeong Hae-seong into the frame, and An Yu-jung also brought a hesitant Lee Ye-na over. Everyone was smiling happily. After the cleanup, the entire school welcomed the inspector. Surprisingly, the last to arrive was the chairman. He smugly approached Jeong Hae-seong, reminding him that his game of pretending to be a student was over. The chairman ordered Jeong Hae-seong to be expelled, and he left the school under the watchful eyes of his classmates. However, Jeong Hae-seong showed no signs of backing down, determined to uncover the truth of his father's last case. Suddenly, the National Intelligence Service's inspection team burst in, intending to seize and search their office. The team leader argued for a reason for the search. The inspectors accused them of accepting bribes, showing cash as evidence, and then took the team leader away without explanation. Jeong Hae-seong received a call from the chairman, who arrogantly described it as a farewell gift, and threatened that Oh Soo-ah would be hurt next if he acted rashly. Oh Soo-ah, passing by, noticed his defeated look and guessed he was worried about implicating her. She encouraged him not to give up. If the chairman found the gold, the Education City project would proceed, harming more children with injustice. Comforted by Oh Soo-ah, Jeong Hae-seong decided to cast aside all concerns, complete his mission, and protect Oh Soo-ah. Later that night, he received a call from the team leader, informing him that a standby order had been issued, and their team was being disbanded. Jeong Hae-seong blamed himself for involving everyone, but still wanted to continue the investigation. He asked his team members for help and decided to use his home as the new operational base, inviting them to gather there the next day. Meanwhile, the director of the National Intelligence Service met with the chairman, requesting that she no longer seek his assistance, fearing that past deeds would be exposed and they would both be inescapable. The chairman mocked the director for being ungrateful and, to teach him a lesson, instructed the principal to tightly choke him, warning the director to remember who helped him get his position and to behave in front of her. The chairman implemented a series of reforms at the school, and Yu-jung secretly called Jeong Hae-seong, informing him that the school was in chaos. Students were now required to eat according to their academic ranks, with different meals for good and poor students, and only special class students could attend evening self-study. She hoped the National Intelligence Service could help resolve this. After An Yu-jung left, Lee Yen-ah appeared, having heard the entire conversation. Jeong Hae-seong and 3 others officially began working from his home. He took out a student council anthology given to him by Oh Soo-ah, which contained a photo of his father using an alias. A story in the anthology matched the last campus legend of Byeongmun High School. Jeong Hae-seong found it strange as the story mentioned computers. But computers were not widespread in Korea when Seo Byeongmun died. He deduced that this legend was not written by Seo Byeongmun, but by the editor of the anthology. Perhaps there were originally only 3 tales, and the 4th was fabricated either to confuse people or to prevent the chairman from finding the gold. A male colleague speculated that there might be a double of Seo Byeongmun in the school. This suddenly enlightened Jeong Hae-seong, who guessed that the phrase referred to Seo Byeongmun's bust facing the sun, with the gold possibly hidden beneath it. With this thought, Jeong Hae-seong immediately went to the school. Oh Soo-ah was still upset about Jeong Hae-seong leaving the school, but turned around to see a delivery guy performing a gesture that Jeong Hae-seong had once done. She immediately chased after him, scolding Jeong Hae-seong for being too risky in his disguise. Jeong Hae-seong shared the secret of the bust with her, and they went to check it, discovering it could rotate. Before they could act further, the vice principal walked in and found it suspicious that a delivery guy was in an off-limits area. He ordered Jeong Hae-seong to remove his helmet. With no other option, and as he was about to comply, Oh Soo-ah rushed to blindfold the vice principal and clumsily started a guessing game, signaling Jeong Hae-seong to leave quickly. The vice principal reported to the chairman that Oh Soo-ah and the delivery guy were chatting by the bust. The chairman reviewed the surveillance footage, recognized the delivery guy as Jeong Hae-seong, and immediately ordered the principal to implement the second step of their plan against him. Lee Ye-na walked in and directly concluded that Jeong Hae-seong was not a student, but an agent from the National Intelligence Service, which is why the chairman had ordered his expulsion. She demanded the chairman tell her the truth, but the chairman ignored her, smugly proclaiming her determination to complete the Education City project, which Lee Ye-na would inherit. Lee Ye-na tearfully wished that just once, her mother would consider what she truly needed. However, the chairman, thinking Lee Ye-na needed companionship, got up to take her for a walk. The chairman left the room first. Lee Ye-na saw a message received on a tablet on the desk. Under the chairman's manipulation, a sensational news story suddenly exploded on the school website, claiming Oh Soo-ah was dating a minor, with many photos of Oh Soo-ah and Jeong Hae-seong posted. Oh Soo-ah was immediately caught in a media storm, and the principal ordered her to stop attending classes and brought her to face discipline from the chairman. At a critical moment, Jeong Hae-seong, dressed in a leather jacket, made a stylish appearance. He walked up to the podium, openly admitting the photos were real, then took out his ID card and revealed he was not 17, but 31 years old. The students were shocked and bombarded him with questions about his reason for hiding his age. Just as Jeong Hae-seong was about to reveal his identity, An Yu-jong gestured with a big X sign for him not to disclose it, and Oh Soo-ah also shook her head at him. Jeong Hae-seong quickly changed his story, claiming he only had a middle school education and wanted to continue his studies, which is why he came to school. Dong-min asked about his relationship with Oh Soo-ah. Jeong Hae-seong honestly said Oh Soo-ah had helped him adjust to school life and that he liked her a lot. The students then erupted, teasing them to kiss. However, Jeong Hae-seong saw the chairman and principal walk in. He confronted the chairman, declaring it was his turn to take the stage, and told her to watch closely. The chairman was furious, not expecting Jeong Hae-seong to handle the scandal so quickly. The principal suspected someone had leaked the photo secret beforehand. The chairman recalled leaving the office first during the walk with her daughter. When she returned to fetch Lee Ye-na, she saw her holding the tablet. Angry, she questioned why Lee Ye-na was acting against her. Lee Ye-na admitted she had warned Jeong Hae-seong ahead of time after seeing the photos and sensing the chairman was up to something dangerous. She wanted her mother to stop, but the chairman, seeing her unyielding, decided to send her abroad for studies within a week. At that moment, the chairman received a message that the bust meant for Education City had been completed. Remembering Jeong Hae-seong and Oh Soo-ah lingering around Seo Byeongmun's bust, she immediately informed the principal that the gold was under the statue and rushed to the school. Meanwhile, Jeong Hae-seong decided not to wait any longer. They planned to boldly enter the school that day to find the gold. Just then, Oh Soo-ah's mother came out of the kitchen, asking for help. She used to be a gang leader, and although retired, could still command her underlings. She led her group to the school ahead of them. Jeong Hae-seong and his team quickly divided the tasks. Touched by Jeong Hae-seong's public declaration of affection, Oh-soo shyly asked him out for a meal after the operation. Jeong Hae-seong happily agreed, suggesting they also have coffee together. Oh-soo's mother and her people surrounded the school, while Jeong Hae-seong showed his credentials and began the operation under the pretext of searching the school for hidden spies. The chairman immediately called the director, who was unfortunately playing golf at the time. A female colleague, hiding in the shadows, secretly answered the director's phone. The chairman suspected that this was Jeong Hae-seong's strategy, but Jeong Hae-seong had the advantage in numbers, leaving her momentarily without a plan. Jeong Hae-seong walked into the auditorium openly and turned the statue again. The statue moved, revealing an entrance. Jeong Hae-seong followed the entrance into a secret chamber. The chamber was long sealed and empty. He informed the team leader via walkie-talkie that the gold seemed to have never existed. The team leader was about to ask more when the signal suddenly cut off. At that moment, Jeong Hae-seong saw a mummified body wearing a watch on its wrist, clearly indicating that it was his father, who had disappeared many years ago. Jeong Hae-seong organized a funeral for his father, and Yoo-jong brought the entire class to mourn together, providing some comfort to Jeong Hae-seong as he thanked everyone for coming and seeing his father off one last time. The team leader handed Jeong Hae-seong the forensic results, revealing that a bullet was found in his father's body. Jeong Hae-seong had asked the team leader to take it to a private lab, avoiding the police chief. The results showed that the gun used had been available only to senior officials at the National Intelligence Service over 20 years ago, and the current chief had once reported losing such a casings, making him a prime suspect. After the funeral, Jeong Hae-seong took a gun from his cabinet, deciding to act alone. Guessing the danger, the chief preemptively fired Jeong Hae-seong. As Jeong Hae-seong was leaving, he encountered Oh-soo, who had come to invite him to dinner. He asked her to go back first and would join later, sincerely thanking her while holding her hand. Oh-soo sensed something unusual in his goodbye and shared her concerns with the team, believing Jeong Hae-seong was planning to confront the chief alone. They hurriedly left to stop him. The team leader located the chief and called Jeong Hae-seong, urging him not to act rashly. However, Jeong Hae-seong insisted they not interfere. He arrived at the chief's hotel, handed over a package to be given to the chief, and found out his room number. After the front desk notified the chief to collect the package, luring his men downstairs, Jeong Hae-seong slipped into the room and confronted the chief with a gun, asking if he had shot his father. The chief tried to fight back, but was pinned down by Jeong Hae-seong, who didn't notice the chief secretly calling the front desk. Soon the chief's men arrived and surrounded Jeong Hae-seong, who then surrendered and dropped his gun. Hiding in the corridor, the team leader and Oh-soo saw Jeong Hae-seong being taken away and immediately planned a rescue. The team leader and two others locked down the security staff, while Oh-soo kicked one of the chief's men in the face. As Jeong Hae-seong was taken downstairs, he asked to go to the restroom. At that moment, Oh-soo grabbed a fire extinguisher and sprayed it forcefully, creating chaos during which Jeong Hae-seong knocked down two guards and escaped with Oh-soo. In the hotel lobby, they were blocked by more security, but the team leader and the others arrived, telling them to go ahead. Jeong Hae-seong swiftly left with Oh-soo, reassuring her not to worry about the team members, who cooperated to defeat the remaining security staff. Back at home, Jeong Hae-seong scolded everyone for being reckless. He had his own reasons for confronting the chief, believing his father's death at Byeongmun High School was connected to the chairman. He had used the confrontation to hack into the chief's phone, planning to monitor his calls to find out who really killed his father. Meanwhile, the chairman and the principal rushed into a secret room, only to find it empty, with no gold as expected. The chairman fainted from shock and, upon waking, refused to accept reality, firmly believing that Jeong Hae-seong had taken the gold. They resolved to recover the gold from Jeong Hae-seong. The principal tried to convince her that the gold had never existed, but she refused to wake up from her obsession and forced him to confront Jeong Hae-seong. Subsequently, she implemented a policy that abolished scholarships and financial aid for special admission students, raising tuition fees by 50%. The principal warned her that many students would not be able to afford the expensive tuition, but the chairman did not care, reasoning that poor students would not be included in Education City anyway, and it was better to drive them out early. Oh Sua learned of the new school policy and confronted the chairman, who called her a hypocrite. Oh Sua found the chairman pitiable and suggested she consider whether her path had been lonely. Looking in the mirror, the chairman saw herself consumed by obsession. The chief visited the chairman. Jeong Hae-seong had found his own bullet in his father's body, and to protect himself, the chief felt he needed to eliminate Jeong Hae-seong immediately. However, the chairman warned him not to touch Jeong Hae-seong until they found the gold. The chief angrily revealed that it was the chairman who had killed Jeong Hae-seong's father. Jeong Hae-seong was monitoring their conversation. During their argument, the truth about his father's death finally surfaced. Years ago, the chief, armed with a gun, forced Jeong Hae-seong's father to meet the chairman, revealing that he was the chairman's inside man. They went to the school's rooftop, where the chairman and the principal were waiting. Jeong Hae-seong's father confronted the chairman, telling him that Seo Byeongmun's supposed secret vault had been empty from the start, a product of the chairman's delusional obsession. The chairman, refusing to believe it, threatened Jeong Hae-seong's safety to coerce him into revealing the location of the non-existent gold. Jeong Hae-seong's father swore to expose their collusion, seized the chairman, and made a swift escape. The chief aimed at him, but hesitated. The chairman grabbed the weapon and shot Jeong Hae-seong's father, who fled into a secret room but died from his severe gunshot wounds. Now, without the chairman's protection, the chief, furious, warned her that he would testify and tell Jeong Hae-seong the truth about how she had killed his father. After the chief left, the chairman made a call, claiming she had found a way to make Jeong Hae-seong talk. After hearing the conversation, Jeong Hae-seong called the chief, revealing that the chairman had abandoned him. Realizing Jeong Hae-seong had monitored his phone, the chief asked to meet him. Jeong Hae-seong arrived at the agreed location only to find the chief murdered in his car. Before he could react, Jeong Hae-seong was knocked unconscious from behind. When he woke up, he was in the chief's car, covered in blood, holding a knife. The next second, police smashed the car window, opened the door, and arrested him on suspicion of murder. The team leader and 2 others received the news and quickly went to Jeong Hae-seong's home to find the reason for his meeting with the chief. They found a recording on his computer where the chief identified the chairman as the murderer of Jeong Hae-seong's father. They realized that Jeong Hae-seong had gone to meet the chief after hearing the conversation and had walked right into a trap. However, just as they copied the recording, the police arrived to seize items and snatched a USB drive from a female colleague's hand. The leading officer, colluding with the chairman, passed the USB to the chairman, who destroyed it and rewarded the police officer for his service. After everything, the chairman went to the police station to confront Jeong Hae-seong about the whereabouts of the gold. Jeong Hae-seong realized the chairman was delusional, as the non-existent gold had become an obsession. The chairman gave Jeong Hae-seong 1 day to reconsider. If he didn't disclose the location of the gold, she would harm his loved ones. On the way to the detention center, Jeong Hae-seong attacked the police in the car, took a gun from an officer, and forced the driver to stop. Distracted, the driver crashed the car down a slope. Bloodied and bruised, Jeong Hae-seong found the keys on an unconscious officer and dragged himself to a phone booth. He called Oh Sua for help, but fainted before he could give his location. Oh Sua found Jeong Hae-seong using the public phone booth's location and took him to a nearby motel. When Oh Sua woke up, she found Jeong Hae-seong had recovered and informed him that the police were searching for him. Concerned that the chairman might target Oh Sua, Jeong Hae-seong advised her to stay home. Worried about the students, Oh Sua, being a teacher, felt she must ensure their safety. Jeong Hae-seong called the team leader, and the 3 arrived fully armed, bringing him disguise equipment. While discussing solutions, a female colleague proudly revealed that the USB with the recording had not been stolen. When the police raided Jeong Hae-seong's home, she had held an empty USB, hiding the real one under the sofa cushion. With Jeong Hae-seong wanted and the 3 under surveillance, Oh Sua offered to break into Jeong Hae-seong's house to retrieve the USB. Jeong Hae-seong did not want her to risk it and rejected the idea. Before they could find another solution, they saw that the police had tracked them to the motel. The motel owner, having seen Jeong Hae-seong's wanted poster on TV, had called the police. The team leader and the others blocked the door to buy time for Jeong Hae-seong to escape. He broke a window and jumped out with Oh Sua, landing on a mattress below. They split up. He distracted the police while Oh-soo-ah returned to the school. While fleeing in the streets, Jeong Hae-seong was hit by an oncoming car, causing dizziness. Struggling, he continued to move and grabbed onto a passing truck, which turned and blocked the police's view, allowing him to escape. He reached his apartment building, called Oh-soo-ah to reassure her, and waited for a man to bring out the USB. This man was a colleague from the National Intelligence Service, a subordinate of the chief. Jeong Hae-seong had told him the truth about his father's death and the chief's misdeeds, convincing him that everything he did was to catch the criminals. Believing Jeong Hae-seong, the colleague agreed to help and retrieved the USB from his house. Jeong Hae-seong went to the police station with a USB drive, demanding that the police apply for arrest warrants for the chairman and the principal. A police officer, colluding with the chairman, tried to delay the process. Jeong Hae-seong whispered in his ear, warning him that he knew about the collusion. Soon after, Jeong Hae-seong successfully obtained the arrest warrants and prepared to go to the school with the team leader and 2 others. Recently, the school had been facing terrible public opinion and financial issues. The board members demanded the chairman's resignation. However, she refused to step down, stating that she could only be dismissed with the agreement of 3/4 of the students and teachers. The chairman and the principal returned to the school. She saw Oh-soo-ah posting banners inside the school, demanding the reversal of the fee increase and other unfair policies. The chairman promised to cancel all recently announced policies on the condition that Oh-soo-ah resign immediately. Oh-soo-ah agreed to leave for the sake of the students' rights and asked the chairman to keep her promise. An Yoo-jong, hiding nearby, overheard their conversation. Back in her office, the chairman told the principal to continue with the policies they had just discussed canceling. The principal warned her that this would only increase student resistance, but the chairman did not care about the students. She ordered a meeting of all staff and students, promising to prevent any further scandals, and falsely claimed to cancel the fee increases, which was met with cheers from the students. However, An Yoo-jong stood up and exposed her lies, asking why she had forced Oh-soo-ah to resign. The students, who knew Oh-soo-ah had fought for them, supported her. As Oh-soo-ah was about to leave, touched by the students' support, the chairman laughed maniacally. At that moment, the principal received a call that arrest warrants had been issued for him and the chairman. The chairman ordered the principal to take Lee Ye-na and leave, planning to find a hiding place after securing her daughter's safety. After sending her daughter away, the chairman called Jeong Hae-seong, claiming that only death is fair in this world. Sensing her intentions to do something drastic, Jeong Hae-seong sped towards the school. Suddenly, the school lost power, and Oh-soo-ah and the students noticed gasoline being sprayed from above, causing panic. The chairman appeared with a lighter, intending to die with everyone. Oh-soo-ah shielded the students, while Jeong Hae-seong arrived and demanded the chairman put down the lighter. In the chaos, An Yoo-jong texted Lee Ye-na, who saw the situation, and ordered the principal to turn back towards the school. Jeong Hae-seong slid his gun towards the chairman, urging her to let go of her obsession and think of what she truly valued. Just then, Lee Ye-na ran in and pleaded with the chairman to stop. Realizing her defeat, the chairman picked up the gun to do something terrible. In a critical moment, Oh-soo-ah tackled her, causing the lighter to fall from her hand. The students screamed in fear, but Jeong Hae-seong dived and caught the lighter accurately, averting the crisis. Everyone at the scene celebrated wildly, and Jeong Hae-seong and Oh-soo-ah exchanged a smile. The team leader and 2 others arrested the chairman and the principal. Jeong Hae-seong wanted to comfort his classmates before leaving, but he suddenly felt dizzy and collapsed. When he woke up, he was in the hospital with Oh-soo-ah and others around him. Jeong Hae-seong asked about the interrogation results. A female colleague informed him that the principal had taken all the blame and refused to implicate the chairman. Jeong Hae-seong visited the principal, having learned that he had grown up in an orphanage before being adopted by the chairman's family. He understood the principal's loyalty to the chairman, but insisted that making the chairman accountable for her crimes was the only way to truly redeem her. At the next court session, the principal testified as a witness and revealed that the chairman had ordered him to kill Jeong Hae-seong's father, and that he had killed the school security guard and the chief at the chairman's request. The chairman was sentenced to life imprisonment. She screamed uncontrollably when the principal betrayed her, but calmed down only when Lee Ye-na visited her, expressing her love for her mother, which led the chairman to tears of regret. Jeong Hae-seong returned to school to say a final goodbye to his classmates. They expressed their fondness and good wishes with paper airplanes. Jeong Hae-seong looked back at everyone, concluding his undercover mission successfully. Back home, he was organizing his belongings when he noticed a star drawn on the floor. As a child, he always searched for the North Star, which his father said he had hidden for him to find later. The floor where the star was drawn sounded different when tapped. He pried open the floorboard and was shocked to find the legendary gold hidden inside. He called the team leader to announce that his mission was complete. 5 years later, Oh Soo-ah had become a full-time teacher. Lee Dong-min had written a novel titled Undercover High School, and Lee Yen-ah was pursuing a career in painting, which she loved. And Yoo Jong was interviewing at the National Intelligence Service, and the team leader had been promoted to chief. Everyone gathered at Oh Soo-ah's restaurant for a meal, where a married couple among the colleagues excitedly announced they were expecting a baby. Watching the joyous faces around him, Jeong Hae-seong felt profoundly content. He took Oh Soo-ah to stargaze and personally placed a ring on her finger. The two shared a sweet kiss under the starry sky.